All right, Kesser and Steen, ready to go deep on this fireworks research for your nature and innovation project, right?
Yeah, diving right in.
Okay, so we're looking at the impact of fireworks on wildlife in Denmark
Especially in those beautiful fjords and seas.
and what it means to really take care of nature in Denmark. Like, what steps can we actually take?
Well, Denmark just passed those new fireworks regulations, right? Limiting private use to New Year's Eve and New Year's Day.
Right.
It's a start, but is it enough? That's a big question this research makes us think about, especially when it comes to birds.
So even with these new rules, there are still concerns.
Definitely. Like one of the sources we have is from an ornithologist.
An ornithologist.
Yeah, scientist who studies birds. And they were using these super sensitive GPS trackers to study geese.
Oh, those big birds that migrate.
Yep, exactly. The ones that fly in those amazing V formations. Have you ever seen them?
Yeah. It's always blown my mind how they know where they're going.
Right. It's amazing. But anyway, this research found that when geese run into fireworks, they totally freak out.
Freak out? Like how?
The noise and lights scare them so badly that they've been tracked flying up to 500 kilometers away from where they were resting, just to get away from the fireworks.
500 kilometers? That's like flying to a whole other country.
It's incredible, isn't it? Imagine all that energy they have to use just to escape the noise.
Wow.
And that's just geese. We also have reports from the Danish Ornithological Society, or DOF, about the effects on other birds.
So it's not just the geese.
Nope, not at all. Think about it. Birds use their hearing and sight for almost everything.
Like what?
Finding food, navigating, watching out for predators. Fireworks mess all of that up.
Makes sense.
You guys even mentioned in your notes that you've seen this happening yourselves, right? Like birds getting startled in your own neighborhood.
Yeah. It made us wonder what kind of long-term impact this has on them, beyond just being scared in the moment.
Well, the research from DOF and Aarhus Universitet is pretty clear. It's not just a quick scare.
What do you mean?
Fireworks can make young birds leave their nest too early, which means they might not survive. And it throws off their natural rhythms, especially during breeding season.
It's kind of sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
We get so caught up worrying about our own stuff during fireworks.
Totally.
Like, will a firework hit my house? Will it scare my dog? Will it burn a hole in my sweater?
Uh-huh.
But we forget about all the other creatures out there.
Exactly. We often forget they experience fear and stress just like we do.
You're right.
And that's something that DOF is really trying to change. They're especially worried about the impact on Natura 2000 areas.
Okay, wait. Natura 2000 areas?
Have you heard of those?
Not really.
Okay, so imagine them like
what?
Like safe havens for nature spread all across Denmark. They're meant to protect habitats and species that are in danger. And a lot of these areas are really important for birds, especially when they're breeding.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
Yeah.
So is DOF saying we should ban fireworks completely near these Natura 2000 areas?
Well, they're actually calling for a complete ban year-round.
Whoa, year-round.
You know, not just during breeding season. But there's more to it than that. It's not just about the birds.
What do you mean?
Well, there are other perspectives to consider, too. We have to think about the people who live in these areas.
Right, like what about them?
And people who enjoy fireworks. Their traditions and livelihoods matter, too.
That's true. So it sounds like there are a lot of different interests to balance here.
Definitely. It's complicated.
How do we even figure out where to start?
Well, one way is to look at places where communities have already faced this challenge.
Like where?
And found a way to make it work. There's this really interesting example of a place called Njord Island.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that. They banned fireworks altogether, right?
Yep. But it wasn't just because of the birds.
What else was it?
They were also worried about their old houses catching fire.
That makes sense.
So they made a decision to protect both their community and nature.
Wow, so they actually found a way to balance everything.
Yeah. It seems like they did. And their story shows us that it is possible to celebrate and protect nature at the same time.
It makes you wonder, could other communities in Denmark do the same thing? Especially those near the Natura 2000 areas.
It's a really interesting question. What if other communities, especially those near those amazing fjords you mentioned, followed Njord Island's lead?
Yeah, maybe they could find different ways to celebrate that are still fun and exciting.
Exactly. Instead of focusing on what we can't do.
We could focus on what we can do.
Right. We could get creative and come up with new solutions that work for everyone.
Now that's an idea worth exploring. Maybe we can even rethink what it means to celebrate.
Yeah, maybe instead of focusing on loud, disruptive events.
We could find ways to connect with nature.
And have fun while we're doing it.
It all comes back to Kesser and Steen's big question, right? What will it really take for Denmark to take better care of nature?
Absolutely. And I think it starts with changing our mindset.
What do you mean?
Realizing that taking care of nature isn't just about rules and restrictions.
It's about something bigger.
It's about recognizing that our well-being is totally tied to a healthy environment.
And finding that sweet spot where we can meet our own needs while making sure nature can thrive too.
Exactly. It's all about balance. It's a tricky thing, isn't it? Finding that balance.
It really is.
Especially when you think about those geese, right? Flying hundreds of kilometers just to escape fireworks.
Yeah, it's a pretty powerful image.
Yeah, it really shows how our actions, even if we don't mean to,
They have a huge impact.
on the natural world. But hey, maybe there's a silver lining here.
What do you mean?
Well, it's like you said, we can rethink what it means to celebrate. Maybe instead of those big, loud firework displays,
We can come up with something different.
something that doesn't scare the birds away. Maybe something quieter, more focused on enjoying the beauty around us.
Like what?
Well, there are already people working on quieter fireworks. Did you know that?
Really?
Yep. Fireworks that still look amazing but don't make as much noise.
Hmm.
And then there are drone light shows.
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty cool.
They can create these incredible patterns and pictures in the sky, all with lights and no loud bangs.
That's a pretty neat idea.
It is, and it's just one example of how we can get creative and find solutions.
Solutions that let us celebrate.
Without harming nature. It's all about innovation, right?
Yeah.
Finding new ways to do things.
Exactly. And that's what Kesser and Steen are doing with their project, right?
Absolutely. They're thinking about these challenges and coming up with their own innovative solutions.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's inspiring. And it reminds us that change often starts small.
What do you mean?
Well, think about New York Island.
Yeah.
That change started with the residents.
Right. They decided to ban fireworks.
Yep, they saw a problem and decided to do something about it. And that's something we can all do.
So you're saying anyone can make a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even small actions can add up. It's about being aware
Of the impact we have.
and looking for ways to make that impact positive. So, Kesser and Steen,
Yeah.
as you continue your research, remember that you're not just working on a school project.
It's bigger than that.
You're part of a bigger movement towards a more sustainable future, a future where humans and nature can thrive together.
That's a pretty cool thing to be a part of.
It is. And remember, you don't have to have all the answers right now.
What do you mean?
It's a journey. Keep asking questions, keep exploring,
Keep learning.
and keep those creative juices flowing. Who knows, maybe someday your ideas will inspire other communities across Denmark.
Or even the whole world.
Exactly, to find new ways to celebrate and protect our planet. So keep diving deep into this topic.
And keep pushing for positive change.
You got it. It really is amazing what they did on Njord Island.
Right. Like they showed us it's actually possible.
To protect nature.
While still having fun and celebrating their traditions.
Exactly. It's all about finding those win-win solutions.
And it sounds like open communication was a big part of their success.
Oh, absolutely. They talked about the tough stuff.
Like the pros and cons of banning fireworks.
And they found a solution that worked for everyone.
Which is exactly what Kesser and Steen are trying to do with their project.
Right. They're thinking about how to protect those incredible fjords and seas.
And coming up with their own innovative solutions.
And that's where you come in, Kesser and Steen.
What do you mean?
Your project is all about sparking these conversations.
In our own community.
Getting people thinking about how we can take better care of nature.
And coming up with those creative, outside-the-box solutions.
So as you keep digging into your research,
Yeah.
don't forget about the power of sharing your findings.
Like telling people about what we've learned today.
Exactly. Tell your friends, your family, your teachers.
Maybe even the folks in charge of those firework regulations.
You never know who you might inspire.
It's kind of like that ripple effect, right?
Exactly. One small action can lead to bigger changes.
And speaking of small actions leading to big changes, remember those geese we talked about?
The ones flying hundreds of kilometers to get away from fireworks?
Yeah. It makes you realize
That even though fireworks are beautiful,
they can have some unintended consequences.
for the wildlife around us.
But the cool thing is, we have the power to change things.
Absolutely. We can make different choices.
Choices that are good for both people and nature.
And that's what this whole deep dive has been about, right?
Exploring those choices and sparking those conversations.
So Kesser and Steen, keep those brains buzzing, keep those ideas flowing.
And remember, you're part of something much bigger than just a school project.
You're part of a movement towards a more sustainable future for Denmark.
And for the whole planet.
Keep up the amazing work and keep diving deep.
Until next time.